Hello everyone, March the 22nd today. Truly extraordinary times. We're just wading into, I think you can now see I didn't exaggerate of what I was saying. This is biblical what we are getting into, and it just starts. The real crescendo will be between April the 19th and May the 16th. April the 19th, that's the solar eclipse, naturally in the last degree of Aries. And tomorrow Pluto is entering Aquarius, extremely exciting, and that's what we will focus on mainly today. And the surrounding alignments which are setting the stage for this big event, Pluto entering the sign of frequency, getting away from the dense material amplifications into amplifying the frequential world in that sense, which means it's no more the dense and structured so much. The energy shifts towards the waves and the frequencies, and which means everything can be rearranged in no time. You just turn the knob a little bit and everything rearranges in a whole new way. That's the miracle there in that intersection between Sagittarius and Aquarius. Now let's just get started here from ABC. So this just happened a couple hours ago. Venus heliocentrically entered Cancer. Now I keep showing you the heliocentric and the geocentric charts both. The heliocentric, in a simple way said, is the content, the quality of the energy, and the geocentric is its form, its manifestation, how it shows in our reality here down on planet Earth. Now before we go too deep into this, and I mean you already can see this is an exceptional chart here with Venus 00 Cancer, and this will be for approximately 15 days or so that Venus will be here in Cancer. Actually, we can quickly do that, as I thought that would be nice to do. Here I have the heliocentric chart. You see, if we go forward here day by day, then we will see how long this energy lasts. Just to show you here one of these little toys this program gives. So we just step forward. You see here, you see the date, and here you see the date, and here you see Venus changing degrees, and till April the 10th. Yes, for the next 20 days roughly, this energy prevails. Now, before we go there, just a few things I wanted to throw in before I forget. First of all, happy equinox to everyone, which was actually yesterday. Happy new moon in Aries, and you remember I was raving about that day, that new moon, already back in December when Jupiter was entering Aries for the first time in 12 years. It was obvious that spring equinox would be a huge turning point. It's the first day in the natural year. It's also the Mayan New Year, and in the Mayan calendar it had the signature of blue galactic hand. The hand is the healing hand. The galactic frequency is truly what we are integrating these days. The 8 is the number for the galactic, also the infinity symbol, which brings in that big bandwidth of everything in our reality sphere and integrates it and brings it into context. And so today now, okay, before we go there, just a few more things I wanted to say. First of all, thank you so much for your support, whoever is supporting me on Patreon or sending me a little donation on on a PayPal, which I have the links underneath. Thank you, very appreciated, keeps me motivated, keeps me going here, and the more I'm getting that feedback, and at the same time I also want to say thank you so much for any comments you leave under my videos. I always read them, I very much enjoy them, gives me a little bit of an understanding of how I'm received out there, and if you have any questions, please throw them in. I try to answer them either right under the comment or in one of my coming videos. And that brings me to a couple points some of you have left comments of. One of them was regarding the black and white, the good and bad balance. And yes, I said we need black and white pixels to get a picture of reality. It is that play of the two different polarities which are making, which are really creating the creative momentum which drives evolution in a very simple way. Now this balance of good and bad has been pushed into the negative. That's what we really have been dealing with. That whole balance is coming back to its proper place. In that sense, negative does not have to be actually really dark and bad. In that sense, it can be just a polarity like male and female, like night and day, which are very different in their apparition, in their frequency, and as they are interacting, the energy starts flowing, the bow of light is sparking, and everything gets into motion. And again, this is a basic principle reality is built on. This kind of subtle balance has been pushed into the negative. This is coming out of it. That's my answer to that. Also, Nessus, there was this question as particularly on that day when Saturn entered Pisces. You can go back to that recording. There was a very tight Sun Nessus conjunction, which I didn't really say much about, but yes, Nessus is all that corruption and pathological behavior of all that. I mean, yes, what it in a simple way shows is that it's coming to full daylight in this time, this present time with Saturn in Pisces for the next 2 or 3 years. This was setting the foundations for that energy, how it would express itself. So this narrow conjunction of Sun and Nessus definitely is the sign that all that criminal activity coming fully into sight, fully into daylight, and it will not be nice. It's quite an ugly picture, we know that. I mean, those of us who are here on this platform, most likely we all do know already quite a bit of all what's going on and been going on, that all that criminal activity which is what led this world to this place, and this is now all breaking open and apart, and it is not nice to watch, but it is super necessary. Better late than never, I would say. Another of the comments one of my friends left was Mars is out of bounds. So we have been talking of Mars quite a bit in the last several months, actually pretty much since the Mars turned retrograde last October 30th. I said this was actually even before that, when Mars entered Gemini, which I guess was going back to June or something. So it was very clear this would be a critical time period. Mars is just entering Cancer in a few days, actually on the 25th, if I'm correct, of March, getting into a whole different way of expressing itself. We will cover that later. but Mars is super critical. Mars has been receiving all that information, that nourishment from the comet, the green comet, all that amazing synchronicity there with Mars, most definitely. And Mars has been out of bounds. I looked it up to give you the clear idea for many months, which means it's, if you look at Earth and think of the equator here in the center, this is the vertical axis around which this Earth is rotating. So the latitude, actually the sorry, now I'm saying it wrong, the declination is the how far north or south a planet appears in the sky. Whenever a planet is more north or south than the Sun can ever be, which is 23, 27 at its maximum, then the planet is understood to be out of bounds, out of that band which is soaked with solar energy outside. It's really in a more separated space, having a greater influence on that level, kind of overlooking from a higher level, being in that sense more influential too. And Mars has been out of bounds since October 26, 2022, and will be there till May 5th, 2023, which is the lunar eclipse upcoming up, really that culmination of this whole sequence of events which have just started, which just getting fired up now as things truly start imploding at lightning speed, as everything goes now so extremely fast. So let's now go back to this. Actually, one more thing I wanted to say regarding the Saturn ingress. I mentioned it at the time. Damocles was at the same degree where Saturn was dead on, just actually a little bit ahead in Pisces. Damocles is a very special one. It moves once around the Sun in 40 years and is for 30 years of those 40 in the sign Aquarius. That means it's just now starting to experience that phase change. It will be there forth and back for a few years. Excuse me, I guess between now and 2028 it will move forward and backward over that edge. What it truly means, Damocles is the sword hanging on a thread, actually on a hair above anyone powerful or in a position of authority, and Saturn is there. So it is really a very I would say there's urgency in it, there is danger in it, there is kind of that awareness of being in the moment, as any moment anything really big can happen. The sword might fall, and yes, you can imagine that's kind of the frequency we have with Saturn expressing itself through Pisces, and that is definitely the main driver this year, as it is the year of the rabbit, which is related to Pisces. So that is the one planet we should pay most attention to. Now here, just to come back to today's chart here with the heliocentric image, you see heliocentrically Saturn is still in Aquarius, so the content in that sense of its frequency is still Aquarian. It expresses now through Pisces. After April 28 it will be fully in Pisces. That's when it will heliocentrically change signs. I mean, what stands out in this chart is Mars here, I guess, obvious. And if we look, so Mars so central again, here with Varuna, who has that extremely high moral integrity of getting it right, of being the gold star of integrity, exposing and pushing very hard for truth. In Leo, heliocentrically, yes, since March, I think it was sometimes around the 15th, Mars edged into Leo heliocentrically. Anyway, there's also here a Mercury, Jupiter, Astrea, Aries, big stellium here, centered at the 26th degree, which is Vesta. Powerful breakthroughs of understanding are happening and integrating people, bringing us together as we see through the maze. That's literally what all that Mercury, and Mercury has been super powered up by that big solar blast towards Mercury, as I did a little recording on that. Go back to that if you haven't seen it. It was quite remarkable. And naturally, since that happened, Mercury's frequency has been powered up greatly. The realizations are happening at such an enormous speed. Everything is, one day can be what happened in 1 year in earlier times. So if we look at the same chart here, which is just laying the foundation for this Pluto to change signs, this is the geocentric, and you see there was a Moon Jupiter conjunction, expansive, and again the Moon standing for not just our basic mood of the day, which is adventurous and ready for big shifts and surprises here in hexagram 51, shock and thunder between 1507, 30 and 2045. That is, if you're interested in getting more of the details on these hexagrams and their overlaying the zodiac, go to my old website, thecosmoswithin.org. I might put the link again underneath. Now, this in itself is extremely expansive with so many planets in Aries, and that is true for today and tomorrow both. Actually, the Moon will be at 26 degrees and something when Pluto enters Aquarius. So again, this is a big resonance, a big power point here. And this 27th degree cardinal here is T-squaring the 27th degree of Cancer and Capricorn, which has been super busy. If you look into my latest recording, that is where, for example, the power axis of that chaos energy, chaos moving direct, bringing everything into a new holy order, I would say, shaking the whole system through and defragmenting it and allowing it to reassemble itself based on nature's principles. That's basically what we see happening in front of our eyes. Again, here geocentric now with Varuna right at the center of the skies in zenith position, the gold star, the integrity, the righteousness. And no surprise here, the black moon here, heliocentric, as seen from Earth. The black moon naturally from Earth's perspective is where the moon is farthest away, kind of defining the orbit of the moon, and the moon is in that sense extremely unique, as it's the only celestial object we know where its whole orbit is shifting constantly its direction in a course of 9 years once around the zodiac, which the median is the black moon, around which the moon's orbit always oscillates, as the astronomers say, kind of wavers forth and back. But if we take that central point of the moon's farthest distance from Earth, that is what I call the black moon, not to confuse it with Lilith, who also is an asteroid. So that's why I keep a very clear distinction. I call it the black moon, the mean lunar apogee. In Leo, meaning the collective shadow, the deepest trench in the ocean, where all the stuff unprocessed is stored away, and when that point is activated, then naturally that all bubbles up and comes into the main frame of reality here up in the 10th house. Pluto is in its very last minutes of arc here, the last day of a 15-year period, to be clear, to be honest. It's a little less than that, 15 years. So 2008 was when Pluto entered Capricorn, and now this is the final conclusive day. I guess you can feel it. There is this compression in the air, also the whole chaos out in the world with stock markets and banks and everything, and the whole economy seeming to start caving in on itself. Yes, it's definitely happening. The sign which will be amplified is always the one Pluto is in. That's a really great understanding, and Pam Gregory mentioned that, and I really picked that up as a great way to put it. So for the last 15 years, with the Capricorn Cancer axis being in that amplification space, particularly Capricorn, all our planets in those two signs were magnified individually, as also on a collective level. Whatever was within these signs by transit was amplified. Now this changes. From tomorrow on it will be Aquarius, at least for a few months, before I guess November or something. No, I think it's earlier than that. I guess Pluto is only here in Aquarius for 2-3 months, yes. But we get the first idea, and it's the first ingress of Pluto into this new frequency. So expect planets you have in those two signs, particularly in Aquarius, to be magnified and powered up. First of all, it will be here Hygeia, which is about health, well-being and serendipity, again here powerfully placed. So overall this is an extremely beautiful chart. This ingress of Venus into Cancer, very bright, empowering, positive, forward-looking, loving, because that's basically what Venus in Cancer is expressing. It is that caring for one another from a true heartfelt place. And if you close your eyes and tune into that frequency of pure unconditional love, and that's what we are made of, that's what universe, everything is made of. If we tune into that and then you connect with Earth and send this energy down into the body of Earth and receive it from above. I like to do that meditation. It just came to me as a figure 8 with its central crossover in the heart space to kind of feel that expansiveness. And that's how we are redefining the dragon lines, as the nine put it in the transmission from Magenta Pixie. The dragon lines, Earth's new grid system, which we are rebuilding. We are restructuring that. All of the people who are holding this strong frequency of change, of intensity, we are the ones truly who are powering up what is happening here. We are the ones who are helping everyone to raise their frequency, to bring it up. Millions of us there are. Many of them not even aware of it yet, just coming to that realization of understanding how important each of us is, exactly in the right place, exactly guided by intuition and spontaneity. So it is all about confidence, trust, but also patience and perseverance, as it will get a bit more rocky from here on, it's obvious. But the whole atmosphere, all this is happening within, is a strong heart space, to say it in a simple word. So this is the next big alignment, just hours prior to Pluto's change of sign, when Ceres, the Earth goddess, is re-entering Virgo. I showed you that in my last recording, how central this asteroid is placed right now here in that perfect trine with Pluto and Sedna, and even the zero meridians placement here is perfectly empowering this grand trine. There's no lines here because I usually don't put lines, aspect lines with the asteroids, the minor planets, to not make the charts too busy. But you see very clearly this is a most exact trine here to Pluto and to Sedna 2858. It's just 1 degree off the exact point. However, the 4-5 cusp at 011 is even more exact. So it is, yeah, I don't want to use words which are having too big of an impact, but these are earth changes, literally, which are implied here. Earth changes on all levels. Doesn't mean that it's all turmoil and things falling apart, earthquakes and whatever impacts of meteors and asteroids, which is all within possibility. We have to keep open to anything, but it will be an exact strike. Nature makes. Nothing is accidental, even if it appears to be wild and chaotic at first sight. Again, the 27th, 28th degree of Capricorn here, that power axis, that's actually where the United States, or what I like to call the New World's Pluto, is. They just had their 3 Pluto returns last year, the last one by the end of last year, the December the 28th or something. So we are already in new territory there too, entered a new cycle, and now with Pluto entering Aquarius, this is reminiscent of the time between 1780 and 1800, with all these many revolutions we have seen in that window, all these openings to one world brotherhood of reaching out for higher ideals, equality, and whatever that means, of giving everybody the same birthrights, the same potential possibilities. And this is really the world we are getting into now. We are starting to wade into with Pluto's entry. Super exciting times we are in for sure. And with that Ceres, so yeah, it is getting real, guys. It's really catching on here. We have been preparing for this all our lifetimes and longer. This is a great orchestration, and yes, it might appear wild and turbulent, but be sure, if you are holding your center, if you're grounding your energy, if you're feeding the system with your love, with your frequency, it will go in the right way, the perfect way, the most easy way. Yes, it doesn't appear that way, but it will be. We can be sure the frequency is so wonderfully prepared. This is the same chart of Ceres cross over the 30-degree Virgo mark backwards, as seen from heliocentric position. And I just want to point out once more here, Mercury here with Eris. This is actually one of the upcoming alignments. Jupiter is catching up with Eris. So Eris here in Aries, Eris is Eris, the goddess of discord. Yes, you heard that right. However, discord has a purpose. It's not just ignited for no reason. It is an inquiry of truth, of integrity, and that is what Eris stands for. She is taking on difficult tasks and ready to go through that period of being exposed to difficult frequencies, to challenges and attacks even. Eris is well armed to brace all that's coming. Then let's now go into the Pluto Aquarius Ingress, which is really the one which holds the most power naturally, because it's the slowest planet of them all. Pluto here, 0 degrees Aquarius, and this is again the chart for Greenwich, for the 0 meridian. I just want to show you here quickly before I go too deep. This was the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction of December 21st, 2020, when they were exactly here together in the same spot, 029 Aquarius. You see the exact same arrangement of the chart. And then I show you a third one already. This is the, let me see, this is the third one. Nope, it's the same one. Okay, there was one more which I had thought of. Never mind. Let me see, maybe I'm missing something. That's what I'm missing. Okay, you see, here you have this same degree. That's the May 5 lunar eclipse. So already you see this is the culmination of this whole phase, will really manifest around that time. So it's a slow build up of different waves, different interactions, and this is the culmination phase when Pallas here in midheaven in Leo. This is when really the marbles are falling in place, when people start realizing big time what's been happening on this planet, when we truly amalgamate and come into a coalescent field to create cohesivity, if that's at all a word, cohesive frequencies, coherence, I guess that's the better word. All that is naturally happening and challenged by Pluto, and Pluto here very close to its station. Its station's at 021 in Aquarius on May the 1st, which means from there on it will move backwards through the skies. We will get to that in a few weeks when we're closer and look at that chart particularly. Just give you a little preview. So this is all connected. So Pluto entering Aquarius. Let's focus on this chart for a minute. So first of all, yes, the moon at 2621 Aries, that is right here. It's very crowded here in a close conjunction with Aries. And then here we have Vesta, Astrea, Jupiter, Chiron, and Mercury, and the Sun, all in Aries. The sign of restarting a cycle, something totally new, pioneering, going into new land, going into territory unheard, unknown of, truly going into the unknown. That's where we are, and it is done with a great spirit of openness. Let's enjoy what's coming. That's that basic frequency of Salacia, which is that beautiful energy of light reflecting on the water. That's kind of the symbol if you stand at the seashore and you're seeing the sun sparkles dance on the surface of the water. It is that pleasant, beautiful frequency of light infusing reality. Mercury here, yes, this is beautiful, this is bright, this is extremely hopeful. And this is true for that coming few months for sure, or in a bigger way for that whole time, the whole 15 years or so, Pluto will be in Aquarius, as this is its original entry into the new sign, with an Aries sun naturally, to not say the least. This is super important. Sun and moon in Aries in the sign of new beginnings. And Pluto naturally, first of all, reactivating the chart which I showed you just before, that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, which truly laid the foundations for the whole next 20 years or so. So let's just stay here for 1 or 2 more minutes. Interesting that Mars in the 29th degree, in the 30th degree actually of Gemini, here very closely conjunct with Chaos again. Chaos, the one which, yes, is dissembling and reassembling in a primordial holy order. Sacred geometry comes to mind, all close to the galactic center's axis at 2710. That's where Mars just was a couple days ago. With auspicious, the one who's relentlessly digging deeper, almost obsessed with finding the hidden gem, finding the dark secret behind all which is going on. Mars here really at the culmination of its 7-month stay in Gemini. Mars in that sense really being super important because it's the degree, the planet of highest degree now, as Pluto has moved on, meaning everything else ends with a Mars angle, a connection to Mars. Every planet who will now move over this chart, the last aspect it makes will be to Mars. Of the major points, at least. Ceres, you see, is a little further here as it just re-entered Virgo, so but there's a perfect square here too, and this is yet another clear signal that yes, the Earth might be shaking under our feet. This is huge, this is powerful in the zero cardinal axis, nevertheless, which is whenever planets are in that cardinal cross, this is something which manifests very strongly on this planet, as these are the main suspension points of our whole, I would say, of Earth's magnetic field, of Earth's aura. These are the main suspension points, the connections with the cosmos. That's why this 0 degree Aries is so important, has been celebrated for thousands and thousands of years as the beginning of the year, when the Sun stands vertical above the equator, crossing over from south to north. 0 declination in that sense, what we talked about before. So interesting too that Pluto is here at the 7th house cusp, makes it ever more clear that this is changing the society we live in. And in the 6th house still is the underlines the importance of working together, of supporting one another, of understanding our place in this game, of what our contribution is, very much resonating with the sign Virgo, which is here. Virgo being of a methodical approach, step by step, and having that deep resonance with harvest, with fullness, with being in a big family. Let's just look at the heliocentric chart for that moment quickly, as I have it here. And because it's very similar to what we already looked at. Let me see if there's anything I want to point out here particularly. I think we leave that for now, but the next one I have here, this is where we are heading to, just as a quick preview. No, not even true, this is just a day after. I was already seeing the next one here, which is this one, and this is the wrong format, sorry about that. Okay, just bear with me. So I want to show you the geocentric picture. Okay, so this is the super important solar eclipse of April the 20th, April the 19th here in the Americas it will still be. And this is the degree where Venus had its upper conjunction here at 29:36 on October the 22nd, starting to become an evening star, being born into this phase. And you see that is that same degree here we have again here at the ascendant 29:48. That is within 2 days when Chiron enters hexagram 51. That is probably when the big drum rolls really start getting heard in all 4 corners of the planet. Chiron, the one who's relentless in digging up all that is wrong, opening all the wounds and allowing nature to come in and heal. To have that happen, you have to first uncover it and clean it out, and then let the sun do its job, bring in the healing spirits, the good intentions. But the big thing here is this is hexagram 51, which, as I said already, Jupiter is in, Chiron joining that, being in here for the next whole year. That's about the outlook we have here. Chiron or hexagram 51, shock and thunder. I said it before, shock and thunder. And Chiron, I guess, a good combination of extreme push for breaking it all open, breaking it all apart in the way it wants to happen, based on nature's principles. Yes, the degree of the eclipse here at the ascendant means the whole thing, this whole energy gets fully activated with that April 20th eclipse. This is the simple explanation of that. And as you see, the moon in conjunct with Juno and Venus, very close to the North Node here, all in house 1. It's all good. It's all gonna be wonderful and perfect. Yes, it is a recreation at the very deepest level we are experiencing right now, all around us and within us too, because we are integral parts of what's going on. So this is kind of the cherry on top of the cake after Pluto has changed into a new sign. Here comes, just on its heels, Chiron, igniting this explosive phase of tearing it all apart, open, exposing it and making it, giving it back to nature, to its thing, and rebalance, bring in that divine order which has been pushed to the side and plowed under for so long. This is no more working. It's just the control mechanism is falling apart. As I said earlier, and I want to repeat it, when will the dam break? This is the real big question, the big dam, and it will be in May. So again, it's a step-by-step process of building, of bringing in more intensity, more revelations, more truth, more voices of calling it all out, more volume, more shouting from the rooftops, and following your heart, being spontaneous, knowing that it is going to be even more intense than it is, but it's all worth it, it's all good. It is another way seeing that Pluto into Aquarius everything goes into overdrive. It's kind of pushing towards a climax. So I guess let's see what else I have lined up here for you. We looked at this shortly already. That's then the eclipse of the 20th of April, which okay, and I give you this one more a little reason. This is the constellation of Pisces, and this is where the sun and the moon will meet on that day, April 19th, April 20th. Here you see it too. Let me see if I can make this bigger. No, it doesn't allow me. It jumps over. But here you see it. This is Alrisha standing out here. Here it is. And here is the sun and the moon. This is the ecliptic. These are the planets along the ecliptic. And this is Alrisha having the same longitude as the sun and the moon. So this is that star which connects the two fish, one swimming in this direction, the other in the other direction. Alrisha is known as the knot. Pisces is always shown as a pair of fish swimming in opposite directions. When the western fish lies in the great soul line of stars south of the great square of Pegasus, and the northern fish is another line of stars to the east of the square, Alrisha represents the knot or cord that ties the two fish together by ribbons at their tail. Alrisha means the cord in Arabic. Okay, so very, very interesting here. That connection to the Piscean frequency makes me think of the two extremes of Neptune's expression, getting back to that again, and the knot being where the energy is most dense, also where the balancing point lies. So just this as a little preview to what is coming. Interesting that this central axis here, 2 degrees Capricorn, Cancer, is perfectly 90 degrees to the power axis of the New World chart, the one from July 4, 1776, which, as I laid out, is, in my opinion, the one chart to be looked at closely over and again in terms of the greater unveiling of a new society, of going into a harmonic union of this world. That is where the seeds were first planted, with that wonderful, wonderful idea of that declaration of independence from everything, based on those really high principles of which were established during that time I told you, between 1775 and 1800. Anyway, this is the last one here once more, the lunar eclipse of early May, again when this Pluto energy in Aquarius is coming to that place where it truly will break open on all levels. I mean, it already happens before, but that seems to be the culmination point. Anyway, thank you for listening, and talk to you soon. And if you liked it, please share it or subscribe. Thank you.